Propaganda. That word, it has a bit of a dirty feel to it. Usually, when we think of propaganda, we think of the old days, of communist generals, wars, lies, and of course, the board. Although it might seem like a product of a bygone era, the thing is, propaganda is actually doing pretty well for itself these days. And I'm not just talking about news and politics that we live through, but it's also very much present in the area of consumerism, making us buy more crap, use more crap, and feel good for doing so. Now, consumer-based propaganda has also seeped through to gaming, with companies vying to make themselves be the good guys in the eyes of gamers. By doing so, it will make us feel that spending money on their product is justifiable in our own emotional mind. I mean, come on, with the way these devs behave, they deserve to be rewarded my cash. And I'll buy a few copies more because they are such good people that everyone else should learn a thing or two from their behavior. Some studios and publishers, they're pretty good at propaganda, and some not so much. But without a shadow of a doubt, there is one studio that is way above the rest in terms of creating positive propaganda. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to tonight's show. Welcome to CD Projekt Red, the masters of propaganda and spin. Now, a quick history lesson. In 1895, a Frenchman by the name of Gustave Le Bon published a book that changed the way dictators, presidents, CEOs, and salesmen look at us, the people. The book is called The Crowd. Now in this book, our Frenchman made one remarkable observation, that people behave totally different when they are part of a crowd compared to when they are an individual. In a crowd, group mentality takes over. And no matter just how much of an intellect you have, or how much of a moron you are, in a crowd, everyone thinks the same. And one of the most important things that Gustave pointed out in his book is that people in crowds are directed solely by emotion, not by logic or fact. And because people in a crowd think, act, and react as an emotional group, there are a few methods and tactics that you can use to manipulate them and sway their opinion and emotions in your favor. These days, thanks to the internet, we don't need to be physically in a crowd. Social media, forums, Reddit, they are the new places in which we hang out. And let's be absolutely frank, we as gamers, we are emotional as hell. I know it's a hard truth to swallow, but geez, we really are emotional beings. The only other subculture or group of people who I can think of that are just as emotional as gamers are sports and football fans. I mean, have you seen some of the sports fans, how emotional they can get? Yeah, pretty much we're no better. In today's video, I will go through 3 propaganda tactics that gaming companies use and can use for their own positive spin. I will give CD Projekt Red as the main example because they are the benchmark. Now the best part is, you can use these tactics too. So buckle up my fellow comrades and let's create some truth. You know how I said earlier that people in the crowd are emotional and irrational who don't use logic or facts to guide when it comes to making their decisions? Well, our friend Gustav went one step further and said that the masses have never thirsted after truth. They turn aside from evidence that is not to their taste, preferring to deify error if error seduces them. Whoever can supply them with illusions is easily their master. Whoever attempts to destroy their illusions is always their victim. So pretty much what he's saying here is that if you tell or repeat the things that the crowd thinks are real, right back at them, they will absolutely love you. But if you tell them that what they think is wrong, well, they'll crucify you. And it doesn't matter if what they are thinking is right or wrong. Remember, they are emotional beings where logic and facts don't matter. So for example, can you imagine telling someone from the flat earth movement that what they are thinking is wrong and that science is right? Can you imagine the reaction that you'll get? Or perhaps someone who has specific views on vaccines. Can you imagine arguing with them? Same with gamers. We too have our illusions about the way the industry works, be it real or not real. It doesn't matter if it's the truth. In our eyes, it is the truth. Now during the Witcher 3 hype machine, before the game came out, CD Projekt Red has said things that really resonated well with the crowd and fed one of their illusions. At that time, the general sentiment among the gaming crowd was that publishers and studios force DLCs onto consumers. DLC is the invention of the devil, and it's greedy publishers and developers that are cutting content from full games to make money off poor gamers. CD Projekt Red, what they did was they were the first ones to latch onto this crowd's illusion. And like Gustav said, instead of destroying that illusion, doing what other publishers did and trying to explain themselves, CD Projekt Red actually fed that illusion even more to the crowd, making them feel like they are right in their belief. On November 6, 2014, they dropped this press release / open letter. Now I won't read this letter out loud, but I've highlighted some of the more interesting words that they've used, because this open letter was an exceptional piece of propaganda. In it, they made themselves part of the crowd, referring to themselves as gamers on a number of occasions. They described the sentiment and feeling of the crowd at that time perfectly. They used very emotive language, and most importantly, they said what the crowd wanted to hear, and it fed their illusion. All of a sudden, they were the hero, the first company to stand up for gamers and give away not 1, not 2, not 5, but goddamn 16 free DLCs. Now some of these DLCs are pretty good, but majority of them would cost around 20 man hours of an Eastern European's worker's time, so they didn't cost that much to make. But this wasn't about the gift. Oh no, this was about the gesture. This is about CD Projekt Red speaking to the crowd. And goddamn it worked. The CD Projekt Red cult has begun. And you know what? More power to them. But this was just the beginning of the PR spin machine. This was spin cycle number 1, just soaking. Soon, we'll be going into full power wash. So this isn't really a Le Bon propaganda method per se, but it is a pretty good move. It's the old, don't look at this, look at that. And this communication move is exactly what it says on the box. If people are focusing on something negative or on something you don't want to look at, create a diversion or a piece of news that makes the crowd look the other way. Now just make sure that the version is good enough, otherwise this can backfire tremendously. So one of the best examples of this tactics used in recent times was by CD Projekt Red themselves. Now you might remember that around October, November of 2017, there were some negative reports that started surfacing on how CD Projekt Red treats its employees. Pretty much, people's sentiment started to form that although CD Projekt Red are awesome at making games, it seems that they might be a bit crap when it comes to treating their employees. The other worrying piece of news that was coming out of these employee and Glassdoor reports was that the upcoming game Cyberpunk was in shambles, and that is not coming along well. Now this particular piece of news, apart from gamers and journalists, is of real interest to one group of people. Now the one thing that you have to keep in mind is that apart from pleasing gamers, there is another group of people that CDPR has to please. And you might even say that this group is more important to please than gamers themselves. Now who are they? Well, that will be CD Projekt Red's shareholders. CD Projekt Red is a stock exchange listed company, which means that it has shareholders. And if shares of a company go up, shareholders are happy. But if the stocks are going down, shareholders, well, they're not so happy. And guess what? Because of this scandal and of the news that the next game that's supposed to come out and make a huge amount of cash for investors is not shaping up so well, share prices started to go down. Now CDPR, they tried making a statement defending itself, but it was too late. The crowd, both gaming and the shareholders and investors, had started to shape their illusion. Now let's go 80s style and let's have a look at a montage.
From my end, it seems as though while CD Projekt Red employs great business practices from a consumer perspective, they don't always extend the same treatment to its employees. Assuming that these reviews' consistency speak to their accuracy, it honestly sounds like a shit place to work, even if they do end up making great games in the long run.
But that is fundamentally why I chose to make this video, because I want to say what no one else seems to be saying, because we all love CD Projekt Red so much. I love you, CD Projekt Red, I love you. But you gotta get this crap together. This is not okay, and I wanna see it improved.
As much as I'd like to believe that it's all sunshine and rainbows at the studio, multiple claims from various sources suggest that this isn't the case.
We care about your developers. The people that put so much effort, time into creating the games we love. They don't get enough praise for all the hard work they do. Please, take good care of your developers.
I don't know, maybe I'm speaking out of turn considering that none of this is 100% confirmed information, but something has to be up, right? I can't be the only one who thinks that the pattern of these reviews and the various alarming developments throughout the past years seem to tell a story.
Now, as you can see, for a company, this is not good. CD Projekt Red is a bad place to work, and Cyberpunk is not progressing. That illusion is starting to crystallize. There is no turning back. We can forget about facts. Time is not healing the wounds either. Prices of shares keep going down. Quick, we gotta do something. Quick, we need a diversion piece. Quick, quick, quick. All of a sudden, with no gameplay or a screenshot or any substantial bit of information, the conversation has shifted. Employees complaining? What the hell are you talking about? And Cyberpunk in shambles? What? Look, they're saying something. The gaming crowd and CD Projekt Red fans, they've gone nuts. And what about the shareholders? How did the stock market react? Well, let's take a look. So this is when the big tweet was sent out, and this is the stock price going up. Nice one, gents. Mission complete. Now, this tweet was certainly a reactive tweet to the market, as there was no further info about Cyberpunk given until the awesome surprise E3 Xbox conference. People had to wait 4 months, which is like 6 years in game dev years, to get any further news about the game. This tweet was a conversation switcher. It was a smoke grenade and a half. And you know what? It was a nice one. Now, some other examples of this tactic are Blizzard and the last BlizzCon announcement. Now, remember those democracy movements in Hong Kong? And remember how certain players of a big Blizzard game started showing support to those democracy movements in Hong Kong, which angered a really big country as well? Yeah, I remember us gamers giving them support. But you know what's better than giving support to pro-democracy movements? Overwatch 2, baby. But you know what? That was a while ago. Hardly anyone remembers that. Now this one hurts me quite a little bit, because you, me, and this whole gaming culture, heck, whole world and the way we behave, we forget really easily. Or should I say, we get easily distracted. We are a herd. We are sheep. Last year's issues are forgotten. Heck, even things from 2 weeks ago mean nothing. We are emotional and we forget. That's how we are. Now let's pass the mic to Gustav once more. He said something interesting about the behavior of crowds. Given to exaggeration in its feelings, a crowd is only impressed by excessive sentiments. An orator wishing to move a crowd must make an abusive use of violent affirmations. To exaggerate, to affirm, to resort to repetitions are methods of argument well known to speakers at public meetings. Now, if you look past the fancy words, what our friend Gustav is saying is that crowds want big affirmations, grand statements. And the thing is, those statements and affirmations, they have to be repeated to us constantly, so that we feel the way that the narrator wants us to feel. So once the Cyberpunk campaign has been properly kicked off, and excessive affirmations and repetitions of CD Projekt Red is a pro-gamers message has begun by the company. As soon as the E3 trailer was shown, the BroDev message has been repeated and shoved by CD Projekt Red into press presentations, interviews, on social media, anywhere a gamer could possibly be. And it worked. People went nuts, and they ate it up. And because people ate it up, the media ate it up as well. So they kept asking CD Projekt Red those same questions and then publishing those answers as articles for the clicks, serving people what they want. Microtransactions? Niet, my comrade. Paid DLC? Niet as well. CDPR are once again the saint. So in a space of a few months, the sentiment in the crowd has gone from this.
I know some will be quick to defend the studio, and I get that. After all, CD Projekt Red are in many ways heroes to the video game consumers, but even our heroes need to be held accountable.
To this.
It is so refreshing when a game studio upholds itself to a certain level of honor and integrity during a time in which so many publishers and developers have succumbed to avarice. One such studio is CD Projekt Red, the renowned developers of the critically and commercially successful Witcher 3.
So as you can see, folks, we as a crowd, our sentiments change. We can be mended and molded like gold or Play-Doh. For the message to stick, you need to keep repeating the message in order for people to think the way you want them to think. It's also called dripping water on a stone. And these two fancy guys from New Zealand that ran pro-Brexit Boris Johnson social media campaigns coined as a term.
This is the single most important point. The best social media strategy is water dripping on a stone. You've got to be pushing the same consistent message day in, day out. The challenge is to use a variety of content to do so.
You repeat the message so people keep hearing it everywhere they look. You repeat it so often that others start repeating it. And you repeat it until it becomes the truth, the illusion that people believe in. And once the illusion is established, it's hard to get rid of, because it's the truth. Now, fast forward 1 year later, and we have that Keanu moment, the god tier of video games marketing. Once again, the good guy CD Projekt Red sentiment needs to be turned up by the company. But this time, to keep the hype going, old messaging will not be enough. They need new messages to strengthen the crowd's illusion. The DLC and microtransaction messages won't work this time. So apart from the Keanu hype, they need to exaggerate and amplify. So how about this? Our standard edition is packed with so many goodies that it makes other collectible special editions look like crap. And are you worried about epic exclusivity? Don't worry, we're not going exclusive because we hear you gamers and we want to give you a choice, because we are gamers ourselves. Not because we're a multi-million-dollar stock-listed corporation that has money of its own to finish the game and it doesn't need epic for it at all. And if that's not bro-deaf enough for you, how about this? Remember that guy that shouted, "You are remarkable," in the crowd? Well, guess what? We are giving that dude his very own collector's edition for free, just for yelling at Keanu. Now, how pro gamers is that? So, all the other developers out there, remember, to build a positive illusion, it takes excess and repetition. So glam yourself up, bust that pirouette, and tell the world what they want to hear, as often as you can. Or at least during the times when you're showcasing a major part of your marketing campaign, like a trailer or a demo at a big convention. Okay, so now that we are coming to the end of the video, you might think to yourself, wow, this guy is really salty on CDPR. To be honest, I think what these folks at CD Projekt Red are doing deserve credit and respect. Because back in Witcher 1 and Witcher 2 days, the games they did were okay, and they're a normal studio. But when Witcher 3 came out, not only did they deliver a really damn good game, but they also changed the way the industry operates. They absolutely smashed it. Here they are, a studio from Poland, and they are the hottest developer on the planet, with other studios replicating and imitating what they do. These guys, they are the pinnacle. They are in a stratosphere, while all the other studios and developers, they're just learning how to build rockets. So kudos to them. I imagine there is a huge pressure on them to deliver, but looking at what they are doing, I believe they are going to deliver this. They already did the hard part with the hype. Now, they just need to deliver a great game with great reviews. And as a gamer, I hope that Cyberpunk will be that great game. So what will the future of CD Projekt Red communications bring? Honestly, I don't know. Probably more of the same. Repetition, repetition, repetition. Pro gamers, pro gamers, pro gamers. I guess it will also depend on what hot topics or illusions will be around, and see if they can latch onto them too. I guess they also put themselves in a spot where they need to do more dramatic actions, more flamboyancy and more big words. After all, everyone's doing free DLC these days. I think what they'll need to do is redefine once again how a game can be promoted. It might be a bit too late with Cyberpunk, as that's coming out next year. And personally, I feel that the future of marketing will be people and community-driven campaigns. Create the illusion for the crowd that they are in control of what they are seeing. This is the next step, I feel. Crowd-driven marketing. And if you're a developer, or just someone that's interested in this sort of stuff, we can talk about it. Let's chat. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and I hope that it was of some use to you. But before I go, I just want to say one more thing. Edward Bernays, the grandfather of PR from the early 1900s, he said that propaganda is education. It just depends on the point of view you take. So with that thought, go out there, look at all of that marketing material, and let's get swept in the illusions that we all create in our own heads. Peace.